Yo, what's up everybody? Welcome to the next video, and today we're doing something a little different. My homeboy just posted a video essay on Type Soul, and I feel with the Type Soul rant video that I just uploaded a couple hours ago at the time of this recording, I feel like this would be perfect to just do a live reaction. Plus, he's a W editor, so make sure y'all subscribe to his channel. I'll leave the link to his channel in the description below, and yeah, let's get right into it. Type Soul just doesn't work. Can't block or dodge, engage with a bad parry system. Yeah, using frame 1 sounds just about right. I hate Quincy Kitos too. I'm actually a little mad that I'm not seeing speed, because right now speed is, I feel like, the biggest issue right now. I mean, me and him talk from time to time. I figured he would have put Yamato on here too, but alright, let's see this. Oh, here are the timestamps. The intro.
First thing first, I want to get out of the way two questions I know will be asked many times as I move forward in this video. Do I even like Type Soul? And why do I play it if I have so many issues with the game? To answer both questions at the same time, yes, I do like Type Soul, and it's exactly because of that enjoyment for the game that I find myself constantly criticizing it.
That's the thing that I don't understand about people that complain when somebody, complains about a game. Dog, if I like the game, obviously I'm going to want the game to do better. So yes, I'm going to complain when I see something I don't like. That's just common sense.
To help, I guess, justify this desire to critique something that I enjoy, I'm going to use one of my favorite quotes. I love America more than any other country in this world. And exactly for this reason, I insist on the right to criticize her perpetually. In Type Soul terms, this breaks down as I fuck with the game, and because I fuck with the game, I reserve the right to call out all of its dog shit qualities. So yeah, let's get right into that, starting with
Damn mutt. I find this extremely ironic because he uses Hakuda, but he uses this crazy creation Wind Jungle build that you guys just saw. It has like a 2-bar true combo, I think. They recently nerfed it though. Type Soul, they nerfed it, but alright, let's go. Oh, they just keep bullying him.
Hakuda, the thing that piqued my interest in making this video in the first place. Hakuda is the cause of both 90% of player complaints, and it's personally one of the things I have the biggest issues with in the game. However, where I differ from many is why I dislike it and what I think needs to be done to the tree itself. Unlike most, I don't personally care to talk about whether I find it broken or dog-ass, but rather want to talk about the skill tree on a more fundamental level. I believe that fundamentally, Hakuda is flawed, and it's for one main reason: consistency. To explain this a bit more, Type Soul is just like its biggest purity token. At its most fundamental, it is a block, parry, dodge game. Cool, we all play the game, we all know that much, so what's the issue? The issue is that Hakuda changes how the game is played fundamentally once engaged. To help, I guess, visualize this, if a kendo user gets me in a combo, I can dodge out, block non-guard breaks, or parry, maybe even swap the combo to my own. Same goes for speed, healing, and for the most part Keto. If a Hakuda starts a combo, my dodge key, and for the most part my block key, are now null. Outside of maybe Spine Rend and Rising Shot, and maybe one other move that I'm forgetting about, most moves in this skill tree block break once in the air, removing most, if not all.
Okay, I was glad he clarified this, because I was gonna say Spine Rend is blockable. It's not a guard break. If Spine Rend guard broke, bro, I would actually be sick. But yeah, let's continue. Point still definitely stands though, because you literally can't dodge. You're stuck in the air and you're forced to do a parry trade. Or interrupt their moves with a move that you have, you know, either hyper armor or something else like that. Yeah.
Stepping now keeps you in place, and considering how long the active hitboxes are for Hakuda moves, relying purely on the iframe of a dodge is inconsistent and not worth it when you consider the heavy punishment you'll receive if mistimed. This leaves parrying as the sole fundamental mechanic that you can engage with consistently when in a Hakuda combo, which is the fruit of the issue. Having only parrying is bad enough, but that's only one side of the issue, with the other one being that Hakuda moves lack good animations that would allow for you to time the parries better. But even if they did, I don't think that solves the issue. 99% of the time, the best option to get out of a Hakuda combo is one of two things. A well-timed hyper armor move to interrupt their combo.
Literally what I just... We're locked in, chat. Chat, we are locked in, bro.
End the airtime, or a frame one or relatively fast move that you can rely on to hit them before they can continue the combo.
Yamato M1.
Also ending the airtime. The tonal shift in gameplay is disappointing to the point that I find fighting Hakuda to be simply boring. So what do we do about it? Well, it's simple. We rework it. No amount of nerfs, buffs, or tweaks will change how the skill tree works fundamentally. So in my eyes, and with the issues that I have with it, this is the only option left. To add salt into the wound, the devs have shown themselves completely capable to engage with moves that remove fundamental mechanics in fun ways, both within the same tree, by the way. Speed. Ghost Cleave and Stratus Strike are interesting, as both remove two fundamental mechanics, but end up feeling a lot more fun to use and fight against. Ghost Cleave removes the ability to dodge or block the move, instead forcing the player to time a parry. And this is first.
I think that last one is cap. I've seen where if you turn around, you're able to block Ghost Cleave, but I might be wrong.
Further balanced by the fact that it can be feinted, both moving the parry window and allowing the player to block the move. Stratus Strike works similarly, but instead removes parry and block and forces the player to dodge. And with its massive range, sometimes you'll find yourself mid-flash step or on flash step cooldown, unable to quickly dodge the move. Overall, Hakuda has us playing a completely different game from the rest of the skill trees, and I believe the only solution to this is a complete overhaul of the tree itself. On a separate note, if you think Hakuda is unfun to play as or against, just wait until you get to progression.
Oh god. I'm gonna put this down very simply, alright? When it comes to progression in Type Soul, I feel like the biggest issue, it has to be like how tedious it is. I mean, sometimes progression can literally take days because the devs just have a poorly made progression tree. Like, it's consistently just killing players, and mind you, dare you try to progress alone. And then the players are just a bunch of trolls. You're forced to always deal with people that are ganking in Wanderich and Hueco Mundo. You can't progress without somebody boosting you. And then people complain about being boosted. I don't know, let's hear his points. Oh, one more thing. I forgot how trash it is to solo bosses without cheesing them. Like, you can't solo a boss. You have to cheese it all the time. Same thing with Bankai. I feel like the biggest issue right now with Shinigami players is that fighting Bankai is too hard. Why am I fighting a Souls level demon just to pop bar and have the Bankai in and of itself be trash and then replaced with true Bankai later on for the Hell update? I mean, like, how? If I have to switch to a certain skill tree just to be able to have a better chance at fighting my Bankai, don't you think that's a bit of an issue? It's just me, though. I like the countdown, bro. Nice. Just get away. SA2 soundtrack. You get a plus point for that.
Progression in most Roblox anime games are linear trash bags that have you questioning your sanity as you complete the same tedious tasks over and over again. Type Soul unfortunately falls into the same category with a few different, albeit lazy ideas, as well as some unique shortcomings. I think we can go over most of the issues with Type Soul's progression by splitting it into two different yet intersecting sections. tedium, and transparency. So let's walk you through what a typical type soul progression looks like and get into the issues I have with progression one by one as we run into them. So you load in, pick your faction, and then spawn into your faction's dimension, ready to tackle the journey in front of you. Except what's in front of you is nothing. No indicators on where you should start your journey, no tutorial to show you the basics of leveling, nothing in the description that lets you know what you should be doing. You're simply given nothing to find your way, and this lack of transparency is something that will persist with varying levels throughout your entire playthrough. A quick side note though, I do understand that if you join the Discord server and then go through their sloppily made channels, you can find a Trello that has the information.
I wasn't even able to do that because when I started playing the game, the Discord didn't even work. So I had to look up a type soul Trello for like 15 minutes until I found a reliable one. And even then, YouTube was just what helped me. I'm not gonna lie. And I'm glad I started off with a wrong car because I promise you, if I started this game off playing Soul Reaper, I would have quit.
On how to progress, but that's stupid as fuck. If you have the time to gather the information needed to learn how to progress and then put it on a Trello, you should have the time to put that said information in the game. This solution is nothing but lazy incarnate.
Mind you, the Trello isn't even actually complete. Like, the Trello is mid. It's barely being updated, bro.
But whatever. Most give in and either find the Trello or watch a few videos showing you the basics of what you need to do. Unfortunately, what's ahead of you isn't exactly what I would call fun. Type Souls leveling works in grades, and from the lowest grade to semi-grade 1, you will be doing these same 1 to 2 things over and over and over again.
Except if you are in a wrong car. Now, a wrong car progression I actually like because it's very unique as opposed to the rest of the grade system for the different races. For wrong cars, you actually get to, you know, pick which grade you can spawn in as. Let me clarify. So at any point, like with the monster that you spawn in as, you can press Control K to you know, turn into the Vasto variant of that monster. So, alright, I shouldn't say Vasto variant. I'm stupid, but you get what I mean. You turn into the humanoid version of that monster, right? So if you are a Menos, you'll transform into a Menoscar. If you are an Ajuchis, you'll transform into an Ajucar, right? And if you become a Vastalorde, you'll turn into a Vastacar. The problem is how hard it is to get Vastacar. Because if you did it the way I did it, I had to kill like 25 Ajuchis without dying. And then fight the boss. Except I didn't fight the boss because I was too scared. So instead, what I did was I farmed up an ult and then killed the ult. But that in total took me like 3 hours.
Mainly consisting of quest boards. Quest boards are Type Soul's way of complying with the Roblox anime game's legal requirements to include copious amounts of bandit beating in their progression. And it's just as bad as its contemporaries. You make a party, click the quest board, and kill whatever spawns. Over and over and over again. For the most part, this is all you'll be doing from the start to semi-grade 1, unless you're Soul Reaper. If you were a Soul Reaper, the quest board part still applies to you. But somewhere around grade 3-ish, you'll have to start doing quests for your division a few times each level as well. These quests are no less tedious than the quest board ones, and are just an added task to an already tedious progression for Soul Reapers. Also worth mentioning is the obtainment of Shikai, Partials, and Shrifts at grade.
Out of all of these, the most annoying, tedious one has got to be the Arrancar. That obby, bro, is so ridiculous. The whole concept of that obby is dumb. Because, like I said, ganking is an issue in Wanderich and Hueco Mundo. So people will see that you're trying to progress, and then they'll kill you. You're not allowed to run while you have this, by the way. You have to walk over to that gigantic pit in the back of Hueco Mundo, jump into it to start the obby. I don't know why clicking the ball just won't teleport you to the obby in the first place. Because you're telling me I have to walk all the way there, and have to deal with players killing me? I have to hire a bodyguard every time I progress. Or like people have called me to bodyguard them while they do that obby. Because it's like people just want to kill you. Second most tedious has got to be Soul Reapers, because you're literally just, well, actually no, that's the easiest one. I'm lying, it's Quincy's. Because with Quincy's, you have to kill a certain amount. You're basically doing a stage 0.5 tier Volt standing. Because 5 meadows, 2 players, this, that. It's just ridiculous. For Soul Reapers, once you get to a high enough level, you just have to meditate 3 times for 5 minutes each time you meditate. And then you fight your Shikai, and if you beat it, you get access to your Shikai. But
Great too. Each of these
all of them
its
are
own unique
extremely
flavor of dull additions to
tedious.
its respective progression, with maybe the exception of Rankar, which is actually not that bad. Soul Reapers have to fight their Shikai to unlock the ability to use their Shikai. The Shikai NPC that you have to fight is held back by the lackluster AI that most times ends up being cheesed by running and critting. But outside of that, it's kind of enjoyable. The issue with the Shikai fight is how you get to the NPC. To get to the NPC, you have to meditate for 5 minutes, 3 separate times. While in this state of meditation, you're completely vulnerable to attacks. So if some jackass decides he's gonna fuck with you, you're gonna be restarting that entire segment all over again. Quincy's are the laziest out of the 3, and is also relatively straightforward. Kill 3 Soul Reapers, 3 Ronkars, and a few of each type of the hollow NPCs in the game respectively. This is far less offensive than the meditating, but equally boring. Finally, we have the partial res for Ronkars. I actually find myself enjoying this one a lot more in comparison. They have you talk to an orb, get an item from that orb, carry that item into a pit, through an obby, and interact with a magical black orb at the end of the obby that unlocks your partial res. Alright, we've gotten all of our factions Shikai equivalents, leveled to semi-grade 1. Surely this is where progression starts to pick up and be enjoyable, right? Unfortunately, this couldn't be further from the truth, as it's now back to the quest board spamming with one addition: opposing faction grips. My issues with opposing faction grips being a requirement comes from 2 places, with the first being that it feels tacked on. Nothing about your progression experience changes. You just now have an additional thing to do multiple times per level. The other comes from a lack of transparency rearing its face once again. To explain, the ability to check your current progress within your grade isn't available to the player through a menu, but rather hidden away at an NPC in Karakura Town, who tells you what you need, but not how many. This info should be readily apparent to the player at all times with the press of the button, but instead they felt the need to gatekeep this information for completely unknown reasons. This issue of transparency-based inconvenience is something that will be increasingly prevalent until progression is all the way done. Alright, we're almost done. We've done hundreds of quest boards, dozens of opposing faction grips, and now we've reached Elite Grid, the max level of the game. So what's there left to do? Bankai, Bolt Standing, and Full Res. These are each faction's final modes and are considered to be the ultimate powers within the game. Something so strong that it goes on a 30-minute cooldown once used. This time for sure, for something this powerful, we're going to be given a challenging yet rewarding task that, nope, more of the same. The process of getting these modes is split into 3 stages, with the first 2 being the same regardless of what faction you're in.
Stage 2 to get your res, Bankai, Bolt Standing, it's got to be one of the most tedious modes I've ever done in a video game. Not to mention that if you die during stage 2, you have to start stage 2 over from the beginning. You need 80 hollow kills, 15 elite player kills, so you need to either have a friend that's willing to let you grip them 15 times, or go around hunting players if you have no friends and you're doing a solo progression. And then finally, you need 1 boss kill. All of that without dying. Whatever. It's okay, Cetro.
Stage 1, win a certain amount of raids, clan wars, or ranked games. This stage comes with its own NPC that gives you vague updates on your progress. Stage 2, 80 hollow grips, 1 boss grip, and 15 opposing faction elite grade player grips. This stage comes with no way to check your progress, and if you die, you have to restart the entire stage.
Death equals
And finally,
null.
we have stage 3, which is completely different for each race.
I'll rank them easiest to hardest. Easiest are Ronkars. I haven't done the Quincy one before, but it's a parry challenge. That can't be as bad as dealing with the Bankai fight, which has got to be one of the most annoying. I'd argue that some of these Bankai fights are harder than Millennia, Blade of Mikola, from freaking Dark Souls, or sorry, Elden Ring. Golly, man, just...
Surprisingly, I actually like this stage, as it has you do a unique form of challenging yet rewarding content. However, it is locked behind 2 stages that exemplify all of my issues with progression, and I find it a bit harder to praise because of that. Quincy's are given a parry test in the form of light beams, Soul Reapers have to fight their own Bankai, and Arankaros have to go through a maze to find a hollow NPC with slightly different color eyes, all while a big black man is chasing you down.
I got that reference.
Once you've completed that, congratulations. You've now completed Type Soul's progression and have unlocked the ability to do more of the exact same content. Thankfully, I and many others find the combat to be fun, so being stuck with only ranked, raids, and clan wars as the only main endgame content isn't a complete turnoff. But geez, what a punch to the gut it is to complete all of that to be rewarded with absolutely nothing additional. Overall, progression is an unenjoyable experience, having its few good parts bogged down by tedium and lack of transparency. Moving forward, I hope that the devs
Sexual grooming reference incoming? I will say I agree. The devs, some of them are just retarded. I mean, from what I've heard, Cetro is doing most of the work. I mean, even if that's not true, yo, these balancers are smoking straight. You feel me? Like, I don't know how certain things get published and somebody says, you know what, this is a great idea. Like Benahime on release, or Kyoka Suigetsu on release. You know you could switch health with somebody in Aizen's mode on release 3 times instead of now how it's 1. Or how Yamato's M1s used to be faster. The crit used to have no cooldown. Serum W used to confirm into, you know what? Y'all already know about the Serum W stun. They already fixed it somewhat, but it still confirms into floating strikes, which now thanks to proficiency does a whole bar. So now that's just a whole 2-bar true combo just from the 2 of them. But you know what? It's okay. Type Soul's balanced, right?
Before we get into this section, I want to make sure I'm clear as possible here, as the community tends to be fairly toxic towards the devs. No issues I bring up or things that I quote should be taken as a call to action to bitch at or about the devs. Same goes for players mentioned or shown in screenshots.
Just let me do
This is a
it.
Lego Bleach game and we are here for fun, not to engage in toxicity. Now in complete contrast to that, these devs and players might just be brain dead. Of course I'm mostly kidding, though week after week I find myself confused by both the decisions of the devs and the response of the community. Starting off with the community, it's wild how we managed to topple Deepwogan's thread. It's the most toxic Roblox community in such a short amount of time. For a nice visual aid, I'm gonna put some screenshots on screen of what people have said to me in just 1v1 matches alone.
Oh yeah, 1v1.
When someone
just
loses
toxic,
to me, it's
bro.
somehow more rare for them to say GG than wishing death upon my firstborn child. I understand that it comes from a place of immaturity, but it's still wild to see nonetheless. The toxicity is funny, and at the end of the day it's pretty harmless, but the second issue I have with the community might just be a bit more harmful. That issue is the mob mentality shown in multiple places that the community loves to engage with. The initial place I noticed the mob mentality is within the game's balancing. They rightfully or wrongfully think something is overpowered. We either see slight nerfs or major nerfs.
One of the things I hate about PvP is when you beat somebody with skill and then they complain that whatever build you're using is toxic and the most broken thing in the game. No, you're just mad that you lost, your Wi-Fi is 3G, and you need to kill yourself. Oh, sorry, my bad. He's nice, I'm not. I'll just be completely honest with you. I don't care if you two said something about it, bro.
It's
I
an
really don't
overpowered
care.
thing, and regardless of the severity of the nerfs, they react by saying it's gutted or useless now. A great example of this is within my own friend circle. When Creation's C move pre-nerf would hit you, it would stun you. If it hit your block, it would guard break you, and the stun time was a little insane as well. Outside of them missing the harder to aim move, this left Lucky parrying and being outside of its formidable range as the only 2 options to deal with it. So tell me why when the nerf happened, I come home to see a DM saying, yo, they got a Creation, are you gonna swap? It's ass now. With a reaction like this, you would think that the C move, which was the bread and butter of Creation, was now borderline useless, right? Well, all that changed is that the ridiculously long stun time is now reasonable, and the move is now blockable. All that they did was add counterplay to a move that had barely any counterplay. This change overall left me feeling pretty good, as creation was now in a state far closer to being truly balanced. However, the general consensus among the community was it was nerfed, so it's garbage.
And I hate that too. When something gets nerfed and you just call it trash. I feel like that's just like, you know, the mentality. That's a GPO mentality, bro. Like when something in GPO got nerfed, I remember everybody would just say, oh, switch off of it. Like Gravity, I remember when Gravity came out of release, I used to main it. Got nerfed. Everybody was calling that dog crap, bro. I remember. And I stayed with it. People were asking like, why? It's trash now. I'm like, no, it's not. They just made it more reasonable to fight. It had like a full health. It had a full health touch of death. Why wouldn't they nerf it? But
the second place I noticed this mentality was within the community's response to some of the dramas that had taken place recently. To paint a better picture for you, a guy named Balboa had a drama with one of the devs named Cedra, and before guilt or innocence had been proven, the community was already at arms sending death threats to the dev, without even knowing the totality of the situation. Some of these accusations levied against him were pretty serious and shouldn't be repeated without some sort of hard proof, but alas, the community didn't care. And to clarify, within these dramas, I don't have a stance on whether or not one party is right or wrong, just thought this was a good example to prove the point. Getting back to the staff here, I have my fair share of issues with them as well. None of my issues have anything to do with the devs themselves, but rather me failing to see the logic behind some of their horrible decisions. One of the issues that I found very early on into my playing experience is how they managed to handle in-game rules. When I first started the game, my friends pointed me towards videos in Trello for progression help, and the Discord for general info and some rules. So while I was in the Discord, I decided to read the rules, and they had an in-game section. Within both the rules channel and the mod FAQ, there were tons of reasonable and expected rules.
Half of these rules they don't care about, by the way. I'm gonna just keep it a buck. They pick and choose who they want to ban based off of personal bias. They have thousands, and I mean thousands, of Soul Reapers abusing their Bankai with the Horizon cheese. And honestly, they know that their bosses are like made like crap, so they don't bother changing it. So the Horizon essence, you know, they just leave that glitch alone, because I guess they understand that a lot of these bosses need reworks, but it's just my opinion.
Rules to be abided by, most just being common sense. However, then I ran into a few rules I found problems with. Things like carrying someone for more than 3 minutes is punishable, or using 2 essences isn't allowed, as well as
Since we want to be silly, using 2 essences is not allowed. I honestly feel like that's stupid, though. That's just my personal opinion.
Sacking will result in you being jailed or punished. These rules are all examples of rules that at surface value are reasonable, but when you think about it even a little bit critically, the issues start to appear left and right. I think the best way to explain this is an example. Let's say I'm a new player, or someone who isn't in the Discord, or maybe even someone who is in the Discord, but didn't feel the need to read through all of the out-of-game rules, as it isn't a requirement to play the game. How am I supposed to know that I'm not allowed to hold someone for more than 3 minutes? There's no in-game feature stopping me, nothing in the game asking me to go read the rules on the Discord before playing. There is no reason for me to be expected to know that I'm breaking a rule. Sure, it's scummy to hold someone infinitely, and that for sure is a bad thing to have in the game, but it shouldn't be on me to be expected to know it's bannable, as I wasn't told to read any rules anywhere. And other than that, it's an action that I can do in-game with nothing holding me back.
That's the last part I would agree with. I feel like when it comes to some of these rules, I mean, like, some stuff just doesn't have to be said. But, like I said, once again, to each their own.
The same kind of logic can be applied to the other 2 rules I brought up. What if I got glitched and had 2 essences, and because I didn't read the entirety of an unrequired off-game channel, I didn't know it was against the rules? Or what if I used 2 moves at the same time, just assuming it was an intended mechanic, and then get beamed to jail because of the dev's lack of foresight? The TLDR for this rule stuff is that being punished for not studying an out-of-game, off-platform Discord in its multiple channels is just plain dumb, and it's something that I instantly got upset at. Another issue I have with the devs would be the content. First, I want to preface that these devs seem to be working their asses off to get out a lot of things weekly, and I wouldn't want to ever diminish their obvious efforts. In saying that though, I find issues with the state that they release content in, and what that said content ends up being. It feels like with every weekly update, something is either added in an unusable state, like it actually doesn't work, or more than that, it's added in an unbalanced state, where it's so bad it's not even going to change the meta in a tiny bit, or so good that it'll define the meta until balanced. Some examples of this are, Arrogante Segunda, Light Segunda, Mother's Piety, Balance.
Arrogante Segunda being underpowered is that is a reach. That is a reach. That is a bit of a reach. A bit of a reach.
Benihime, Boss Raids.
Is Benihime Balance is underpowered? Maybe I just need to hear him out. I need to hear him out.
Odachi, and that's just to name a few ones.
Odachi being overpowered. I'd only say in Bankai. I mean, honestly, they're making it so that what I've noticed is that a lot of commons are just that much better than legendaries, which is something I like about the game, that rarity does not equal, you know, the strength of a Shikai, Res / Volt, but I'll hear him out.
Off memory. Finally, to end off this dev rant, I want to complain about something that's incredibly nitpicky but still bothers me. These dudes yap an announcement and update logs, channels that should be reserved for important in-game shit. The worst thing about all that is that they have a dedicated channel for staff yap, and they couldn't be fucked to do it there instead. All in all, the devs aren't that bad, and they seem to have crafted a fun yet infuriating game, with what seems like a crazy amount of potential in the future for improvement. And the community with all of its toxicity isn't all bad. I've had plenty of fun moments that came from just doing some random thing with some random dude that I just met randomly.
Ooh. Why can't you turn off mode music? It's one of the most annoying things, bro. Because whenever I try to record content, bro, I always have to watch out for that. I always have to turn stuff down. That's why you don't see as many boss raid vids. Because, like, I had Stark for a while, but I didn't make a video because I was like, I'm a small channel. I'm not trying to catch any copyright strikes on my stuff yet. That's ridiculous. Oh, do you think general chat is bad, bro? Just go in the VC. I'm so serious. Go in the VC. I've never seen something more degenerate, but... I mentioned that earlier in the video. Nice. Nerf Yamato. Yeah. Oh, that's cute, man. I like that. I like that. Love you video, guys. This is his channel right here. Bizarre MM. Look at that. Clean video. With that being said, guys, hope you guys enjoyed this little reaction that I did. I'll leave his video in the link in the description. With that being said, I'll catch y'all in the next one. Deuces.